Let's welcome our host, Erica Wilson.
Great day, everyone. We're here live today with your girl, Erica Wilson, for our Monday Night Madness. And tonight, our topic will be wow college visits. And oh my God, as I began to just look up this topic and do some research on what it's like for college recruits when they go on these visits, whether it's official or unofficial. And when I began to search to find out what exactly goes on, whew, did I find something that I probably didn't want to hear. But I told you I had to just take it with love and just know that, these college recruits, they're definitely in God's hand and God's definitely doing his thing with them. And these young fellas are getting ready to embark on something that's so great. And when I say something that's so great, they're getting ready to embark on the next phase of life, which is entering into the college level, the collegiate level. Not only that, being though they're getting ready to leave home and become young men and young women. I'm not sure what goes on with the young women, but I do. Maybe I should have, looked at some of the things that goes on with the women that's being recruited into college as well. But you do have the unofficial visit and the official visit. And I believe you get up to 5 official visits. You can take up to 5. But I know when we were going through the process of, when Alan was being recruited by the University of Miami, and we were going through that process, I know that he didn't want to take too many visits, even though he already knew in his mind that University of Miami was where he was going. However, during that process, you do have, I believe, up to 5 schools. And I want to be correct when I say that. So let me just look here. You do have up to 5 schools that you can visit, right? But to me, I just think when most of the times when you go and you're visiting these schools and you may see, just like when you want something, right? And you're doing the research on what it is you want, you're going to always find something in the next thing. And when you begin to look at too many things, you're going to take something out of this one, something out of that one. And you're just going to be going, picking and grabbing, not even realizing that you can narrow that search on down. So, but that was Alan. I think Alan took 2, if I'm not mistaken. However, he already knew that he was going to the University of Miami. But it's also good to take those visits because you want to make sure you're doing the right thing. But tonight, what I want to show y'all is something that's this is going to be fun tonight, because I'm telling you, what I pulled out for you guys on tonight, oh my God, it's literally going to blow your mind like it did mine, because I had no clue that these were the type of things that were going on when our kids go on college visits. I told you. And not just that we're also I'm going to show you a couple of videos on the recruiting process when some guys was picking the team that they wanted to, the college that they wanted to go to. What were the reactions of the parents? Something real big for me, because here it is. I know that I can't go out and play a down. I know that I'm never going to touch that field, go to workouts or however, knowing that this is something that Alan wanted and not what Mom wanted. And that's one of the things we have to understand is we can't make our kids do anything, especially when they're becoming young men. We can't make them do anything, but we definitely kind of encourage them. But whatever their decision is, I think we should be there to back them, regardless of what, right? But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start off with a video. Hold tight, guys, because I told you, again, when I saw this video, I literally said, whoa. No, I think I want to save that for last. But let me go ahead and show you another video where these guys went on a visit. Well, not a visit. They already had, getting ready to pick their teams. They were sitting there with their families, which is a very, very exciting time. Very, very exciting when you're getting ready and anticipation is just going and you're not knowing which way your kid is going to go. So before I play the video, I also want to talk about T.Y. Hilton. And I'm talking about an amazing video on how he chose his school. He actually had FIU, and I can't think of the other one. Please charge it to my head and not my heart. But he actually had two schools that he was interested in, right? And what he did, he put the two hats on the bed, and then he set his toddler on the bed and let his toddler pick, right? So the baby kept going, picking up the FIU hat, and he did it 6 consecutive times. So that's how T.Y. Hilton chose his school. And man, I'm telling you, to have your baby do that, I mean, that is something so awesome. But just to see that, these young fellas I'm getting ready to show you guys and see how they had all of their family surrounding them and the family not knowing which way they were going to go. You're going to see some mom's reactions, and you also is going to see the recruiting process of a coach. Not all coaches. Again, not all coaches, but you're going to see this video and tell me what you think after you watch it.
Talent, and some of the recruiting efforts made to get him were substantial. And going back to Coach O, at the time, he was a member of the USC coaching staff, and they sent him to try and convince Adrian Peterson to attend USC.
I said, well, Adrian, what is the key to getting you here at USC? He says, Coach, well, Bob Stoops, my dad is incarcerated. Bob Stoops won't see him. Adrian said, Coach, my dad is be able to watch my games where he's at if I go to Oklahoma.
So because Adrian's number one reason that he was going to go to Oklahoma was because his dad was in Oklahoma, this is what Coach O tried to do to sway Adrian Peterson.
I tried to get the guy transferred to Los Angeles.
Wait, you tried to get Adrian's dad?
Yeah, try.
Just insane.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. All right, guys, I want to, because here it is. You have this coach. He went as far as going to a prison where Adrian Peterson's dad was and visiting with him, and even tried to get the prison that the young man was in. He tried to get that changed. I didn't even know that it's that deep, guys. Coaches do things like that. But just to see, he said, yeah, I tried to get his prison moved because I wanted him here. But it's just so amazing to see the recruiting process, how much our kids are faced with, because here it is, you have these kids going off to make one of the biggest decisions of their life. Like I said, they're getting ready to move in the next phase of life, right? They're getting ready to start their collegiate career. So knowing that you have this type of pressure on you, I didn't know that the pressure was so bad. And so that coaches do those type of things. But let's go ahead and jump on in where the young men pick their colleges, and let's see how mom reacted.
Roll Tide roll. Ooh, Alabama. Now, might I ask you your reaction? And I'm only doing that because there was not a lot of joy here. Can I ask why?
I feel this LSU is a better place for him to be. LSU Tigers, #1. Go Tigers.
This was awkward. But what happened to Jacob Copeland was worse. On National Signing Day, Jacob Copeland committed to Florida, which clearly wasn't supported by his mother, who was wearing Tennessee and Alabama gear. On the surface, this looks like a petty move by the mother, and it clearly affected the son in the moments following the commitment.
So, Jacob, you're going to Florida. Who just got up and left there and to your right? Who got up and left?
Oh, that was my mom.
And why did she walk out and leave?
I don't know exactly why she walked out, but yeah.
A young man should never feel abandoned by his mom, but from his mother's perspective, apparently, her son had been more involved with gang members in the Florida area, and she wanted him to get away from those influences. So after trying to persuade her son to not go to Florida and it didn't work, she was clearly upset by this. In the comments below, let me know, was she justified in her actions on that signing day? Now, as for another mother story, former 4-star recruit Alex Collins was deciding between Arkansas and Miami. His mother desperately wanted him to stay close to home and attend Miami, but Collins was pretty adamant that he was going to commit to Arkansas. So his mom, in a moment of desperation, hijacked his announcement ceremony literally moments before it started by stealing the commitment papers and then literally going into hiding. They looked and looked and they ultimately couldn't track down his mother, but ultimately Collins ended up tracking down his dad and had him sign the papers to go to Arkansas. His mother would come out of hiding and eventually hired an attorney to try and challenge the legitimacy of his dad signing off on Arkansas. It didn't work, and Collins became an excellent running back for them.
Spinning, still on his feet, powering through for a score!
Now, as you've heard in this video, there's been some pretty wild stories from the recruit and their family's perspective.
Whew. Listen, just to sit and watch those videos is kind of disheartening. Well, not disheartening, because I understand when it comes from a mother's point of view. Here it is, we want the best for our kids and we think we know what's best for our kids, right? But here it is, we have to also understand that, again, like I said, I stated in the earlier part of the video, that we don't get out there and we don't play it down. We don't get out there to work out. We don't get out there to touch that field. You know, it's really up to our children and allowing them to, and trust that we raise them the right way. So wherever they go, they make the right decisions. And I know I can feel some of the ladies' pains, because it was a time when my oldest son actually wanted to go off to school, and I was afraid of him going off because that's all I knew. I just had my kids, and I was really, hovering over them and scared for them to go away for my own reasons. Great day, Charlotte. God bless you. But here it is. You have these mothers that's showing their emotions on how they feel once their son picked the school that they want to go to. I don't know, as far as, if I'm not saying that the young lady was wrong for walking away, but I'm just saying I don't know if I would have walked away. I probably would have took a deep breath, but again, I had learned from what happened with Daryl. I didn't allow him to go off to college, but then here it is, when his younger brother come along, he made a decision what he wanted to do. However, but just seeing the young ladies react the way that they did, I saw the hurt in the young man who picked Florida. Now, allegedly, from what the young man said, he said that his mom wanted him to go away because I guess he was involved in some gang activity. Not to be true. I don't know how true that is. That's allegedly, but that's what it was said in the video. But to know that here it is, her son is getting ready to make the next best move of his entire life. He's getting ready to set himself up for the next 40, 50 years of his life. He needed her at that time to show that she support him actually in his decision. But sometimes we can let emotions get the best of us. And I see that she walked away. They did not say whether she came back or not. But the one thing that I love to see inside of that video is once mom did walk away, I'm not sure who was the young man, but the young man came in and he sat next to the recruit and began to put his arm around him. But the one thing that I want to say too is the media is ruthless. You see how they said, why would your mom do that? Again, to me, the focus should have been on the recruit and not already seeing his facial expression. He was really hurt when his mom walked away. But just to add fuel to the fire, why you think that she walked away? He can't answer that. All he knows is this is one of the best moments of his life that he was hoping that everybody would be happy for. Then on the other hand, we have the other young man who actually picked, I think, Alabama, and his mom wanted LSU. Even though she voiced her opinion and she still said, go Tigers, but she still sat there to support her son. The thing about it is, what we have to do as parents, we have to understand that once we raise our children, once we raise them, we have to entrust that we raise them right, one, and then two, that they're going to go off and do the best things that they know how, regardless of the fact of how involved or what's going on around them, letting them know that they have the right heads on their shoulder and they know what they're there for in college. But here it is with this wild college visit, this video that I want to show you guys from Sosa Slim, literally blew my ever-loving mind, because I never even imagined these type of things that goes on at college visits. I know when we went to the University of Miami college visit, I stayed in. Alan went out. He had a good time with the whoever, the recruiting. I don't know what they call them, but whoever people that take them out, to show them around the campus and things like that. And then they go off and they do their own thing. Some things we do with them and some things we do not do with them as parents. But here it is, just to know what I saw. What I'm getting ready to show you guys is, I'm telling you, literally going to blow your mind. And this is not to deter anyone from sending their kids to college. This is not what this is about. This is something that I wanted to share because, it was shared on Twitter. I wanted to bring it here because this falls under this category, wild college visits, right? And when I found out what was going on, I know y'all, the anticipation is going. Let me go ahead and show y'all what's going on, because I could not believe it. And all rights belong to Sosa Slim. Ooh, this one here is good, y'all. Let me see. Here we go.
You know what the scandal was? They provided strippers. Do you want me to tell you guys what happens on college recruiting visits? I know the boys' mom is going to probably be appalled. There might be something that me and the boys do on our own. Raunchy shit happens on recruiting visits, man. All sex fuel. They put you with 6 of the finest women that they can find to escort you all around campus and make you believe that this is going to be your life. If you want it, you're going to have sex. If you want it, there's going to be alcohol flowing. You want weed? Weed. You want coke? Coke. It's going to give you everything that you want. It happens. I know for a fact, I was 17 years old when I went on my visit to the University of Miami. And you know where I went? I think we went to KOD, King of Diamonds. No, or Rolex. Rolex is what it was. And you know who took me there? Yeah, titties in my face at 17. Sorry, Mom, you got to hear this right now like that, but just letting people know. Titties in my face. And I liked it.
Guys, did you just hear what I just heard? I cannot believe what I just heard, even though I'm hearing it for the second, third, fourth, fifth time, right? Great evening, sis. Great evening, Kimberly. But just to know what I just heard at 17 years old, he said when he went off to school, went for his college visit, those were the things that was happening. I'm like you, superstar. Wow. I'm at a loss for words. When I saw the video, I just sat and I began to think, at 17 years old, maybe this is why some of the parents, and not trying to justify anything, and this is just my opinion, maybe that's why some of the parents are kind of afraid of letting their kids go off so far. But even if they're in close proximity, if those things is happening, a lot of times our kids don't even tell us what's going on, But even if they're in close proximity, it's nothing that we can do to stop it but pray. That's about it. But to know that 17 years old, you have all of this that you can easily get your hands on, is very, very disheartening. Not saying that it goes on at every school. And I see that even though he went to Florida State, he said he talked about his visit at University of Miami. I can't say, and again, this is just my opinion. To me, I mean, my mind was literally blown by hearing what I just heard. To know that not only I knew about the women, everybody, I'm sure all of us do, but I did not know about the other list of things. How is it at 17 years old, a kid is even able to get into a club? I've heard, you really, Charlotte? I have never ever heard that that list of things was available to the kids. Never. I never heard of that. And maybe I'm naive, I'm green, or what the kids call it, but I never heard of that. But just to know that, again, like I said, all of those things are just right there for our kids to get. We have to make sure, again, that we're parenting our kids the right way and we're teaching them to be leaders and not followers. But just, again, at 17 years old, I'm still, well, you know what I do? I guess they could kind of get in a club with, depending on who they're with. Because listen to the video, he said he went in with Luke. So Luke was the man back then in Sosa days. So I see how they were able to get into the clubs. But to know that all of those extracurricular activities goes on, that they have these things readily on hand, how is that possible? Like, why? What's the purpose? You know, here it is, our kids are getting ready. If they're getting ready to go off to school and become an athlete, and especially if it's a school that I don't care if it's the school of their dreams or not, they're getting ready to go off to college. And here it is, they have these things put before them. To me, is that a setup to see if these kids are going to bite, to see what these kids are about? Like, what is it? Doing whatever it takes to recruit the kids. Obviously so, superstar. Yes. Not just that. You see what the young man, one of the coaches said? He said he went as far as, going to the prison to visit a recruit dad. And just because the recruit dad in the college, in the state where the recruit dad was in prison, he wanted, his son to stay there. However, this other coach comes in, the one that you guys saw, and he comes in and he said, I decided to go, and I tried to get him moved. Yes, so they will go above and beyond to get these people, get these kids into their schools. And I don't know if it goes off of, are you being highly recruited, or I don't know what it is, because I know when Alan was going in, the last year of his high school year, he tore his meniscus, so he really didn't have much tape at all from his senior year. Had some from the previous years, but didn't have none from that year because he sat out that whole year with that meniscus tear. But the thing about it is, still was recruited, still, whether 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, whatever. I don't know how they're providing, who they go to the extent for, as far as where these, I'm sure if anyone is being recruited by that school, they're going above and beyond. So I don't think it's a level, but I don't know either. But just to know that here it is, these kids is being offered all of these things and, being exposed to all of these things. What happens if a kid don't want, because we know a lot of peer pressure out there, right? So what happens if this kid is kind of like, don't want to seem like the softie, and here it is, he indulged in something that he really don't want to, but he don't want to seem like he's not a cool kid. He just want to fit in, and he indulged in some of this stuff. It's money involved now. Yes, Charlotte, you're absolutely correct. I don't think it's now. I think it's been that way, not just the money, but my thing is, if you have a kid, again, I don't know if they go out in packs, I don't know how it go, but what if this kid is not as strong-minded as other kids to say no to drugs, just say no. And here it is, he'd go out with the fellas, and maybe some of the fellas are indulging in it, and here it is, they're sitting there and the stuff is being right there for them. And he know in his heart of hearts that this is not something, he or she knows in their heart of hearts that this is something that they really don't want to do. However, they don't want to seem like they're the wimp or the green kid, or I don't know what they call the kids now, who the uncool kid, whatever it is that they call them. But just to know that this kid may try it just because he's under the pressure and under the consumption of he don't want to look like he's not the cool kid. What happens to this kid now? Say this kid just touch it one time. And I'm not even talking about the weed. He said Coke. It's Coke if you want it. So I'm assuming not the Coke that you drink. I'm assuming it's cocaine. If this stuff is available and this kid just try it one time, what happens if he get hooked? His whole career is gone down the drain. Just gone. So I think I can't wrap my mind around why is it so easily accessed. Not saying that all schools do this. We don't even know it's true what he said, with University of Miami, because it's definitely all about the U guys. It's definitely all about the U. But we don't know that to be true. So again, this is allegedly. We did see the video, but it does not mean that it's true. However, seeing that do raise some flags. I would be so nervous if I was a parent and watch that video and have to send my child off to school. Even though, I trust that I raised him right, he or she right. Even though I will hope that they will go off, he or she go off to do the right thing. But I will have some type of reservations about sending, them off. Because again, the money, and what the coach did, I kind of knew that went on. But this other stuff, I had absolutely no clue. I didn't know that the women was just so readily available. I didn't know that, the drugs was just there for the kids. Excuse me. I didn't even know that the kids were going into these strip clubs. I didn't have a clue. But just to see that. Now, bouncing back to the mothers. You have the mothers, right? The mothers was not excited about their child's pick. As a mother, I cannot understand why is it that we're nurturers. We don't ever want to see our kids fall or fail at anything. So if we could go above and beyond to get that from happening, that's exactly what we will do. However, sometimes it can be a hinder. You can hinder the kid, or you could basically hurt the kid, because the kid may be feeling like, or the child may be feeling like, you don't trust me, mom. You don't trust that I would go out and do the right thing. You don't trust that you raised me right. You don't trust, is money involved now? Yes, absolutely. I think that's an old comment. But yes, you don't trust that I will do the right thing. So it kind of will draw a little wedge between mother and son, or can, not say that it will. It can potentially draw some type of wedge between mother and son, because we as parents, again, like I said, especially mothers, I can't speak for the fathers. I know the fathers kind of show that tough love, but us mothers, we so soft. We so, we just don't want to see them fail. We don't want to see them hurt. And we go to try to, dig it in where we really shouldn't, and really just be there for support. And if they do come, because right then and there, I think from that point, after one, mom walked away, and then two, the other mom didn't look like she was, really excited for her son, wanted him to pick another school. Right there, the child may be kind of skeptic of coming back and talking to the mother or the father about anything, whoever was the person that kind of made them feel a little uncomfortable. And this is one of the things we don't want to do to our children, any of them, whether they're young or old. You never want to make it hard for your child or your children to come and speak with you. because it's things that, they may want to only tell you. But if they feel like that line of communication was actually broken because you didn't trust or didn't show them that you trust them in the decision that they made. And I remember talking to a young man, and he was basically pouring his heart out, telling me about some decisions that his daughter was making, but he had to let her make those decisions. And if she fell or fall, he would be there to pick her up. But see, us mothers, don't you do that? Didn't I tell you not to do that? Oh, I don't think you should do that. But as coming from a father, I'm hearing what he's saying, but he said that, yes, I'm going to give her that space because she has to learn. I know, is exactly what I know, that I raised her right, and I will hope that she will do the right thing. But if she decides that if she don't do the right thing or fail, I will be there to pick her up. And my words would never be to her, I told you so. We definitely have to be careful with that when it comes to our children. But these wild college visits that we were talking about on tonight, and shouts out to Sosa Slim. He said, Mom, I'm sorry that you have to hear this, but let me tell you guys, that is a hard pill to swallow as a mother. If I was sending my kid off to school, I would be kind of nervous. I would be so nervous, seeing that, is this going to happen to my kid? Is this what's going on? But guys, let me go ahead and jump into commercial. I'll be right back. Guys, I'm back. I just pulled up the NCAA and see what it is, how this recruiting process thing go, right? And it's a shame on me that I didn't do this when Alan was going off to school, right? It says the NCAA allows a recruit to make only 5 visits. I said that. Good job, Erica. To Division I schools, though, and limited to 1 per school. So you can't visit the same school twice, is what I'm gathering here. And official visits to D2 and D3 schools are also limited to 1 visit per school, but there is no limit on the total amount of visits. So if you're going to a D1 or a D2 school, you basically could take as many visits as you want. However, if you're in a Division I school, according to the NCAA, it's saying that you only could take 5 visits until that one, 5 visits to a Division I school, limit to 1 per school. So it's not like you could take this visit to the University of Miami and then go and visit another school and then return back to the University of Miami to visit that school again. And that's whether that's Division I, 2, or 3 is what I'm reading here. But to know that here it is, for Division II and Division III, there's no limit. So you basically take as many visits as you want. Now, what's the difference? If somebody can help me out in here, I know that it's something called JUCO. And I don't know if that's a Division III or it's just, let me see. I don't know if that's a Division III. But the thing is, you have something that's called JUCO as well. Sometimes, I like to say, Lamar Miller quoted this, and Alan also stated this as well. It's not where you start, it's where you finish or how you finish. Regardless if it's a D1, D2, D3, JUCO, whatever it may be, encourage your kids to go out there to do the best that they know how, to give it their all, and to stay the course, not worry about what's going on around them, but keeping their focus on why they're there, what they're there for. And if they do fall into a D2, D3, still Act like you're in a D1. Press hard. Keep working. Go hard. Don't give up. Tony Price says junior college is separate entity, I believe. Thank you so much, Tony. God bless you. Thank you so much for tuning in. But listen, like I said, regardless of it's a D1, D2, D3, still, I mean D2 or D3, still at RJUCO, please do encourage your kid to give it his or her all, because at the end of the day, just like Lamar Miller say and Allen say, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. At the end of the day, you could go in under the radar and come out on top. Because let me tell you, as many times as once people get into the pro level, let's jump into the pro level now. So as many times as people go into the pro level, here it is, it's a lot of the undrafted players that actually shows up and do great things. But I also too want to speak about a young man. This is something I encourage us to talk to our kids about too, because if a kid do not want to play football, let that be their choice. That's number one. But number two, it was a young man that I was speaking about the other day, and the parent said, well, he never played football. And he's only, I believe, like in the 9th grade or so. He never played football. Okay, but if it's something that he wants to do, encourage, you can be there to back him, son. If this is something that you want to do, go forth with it. Because it's one guy who I know that's in the league right now who only had 1 year of college tape. And he went and smashed the league. Mr. Graham. A product of the youth. A product of the youth. But he went and he gave his all, even though he didn't have but 1 year of college tape. Let's see what Tony's saying again. The JUCOs are 2-year schools. I have several friends who went JUCO and ended up D1. See? That's right, SEC stars. That's it, Tony. That's what I'm talking about, because they got out there and they gave it their all. They kept the focus and knew what they were there for. But I know that there's players that actually, look what he said, the SEC stars. At the end of the day, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. But okay, jumping back into the pro league. Here it is, this guy, Patrick, I think his name Patrick Graham, but I know his last name is Graham. I'm telling you, just doing amazing things in the league. But he only had 1 year of college tape. So if your kids, thank you, baby. Thank you, Kat. Thank you so much. But yeah, if your kids, again, maybe never played the sport or maybe played the sport and decided to give it up and decided they want to return back, please do let that be their decision. Because if a kid get out there and fail, when I say fail, I'm talking about if they get there and they do not make it to the next level, they could kind of resent you for that. Absolutely, Tony. They could kind of resent you for that. And that's something that you definitely don't want to happen. I did have a video, but I didn't upload it. It was a young man who, I'm talking a big lineman. I mean, he was big. The thing about it is he didn't want to fail his parents. Now, this here is heart-wrenching as well. Maybe not for some, but definitely for me. To know that this baby will go to the extent that he did. This young man it was going through the recruiting process, and he was lying, saying that he got recruited about so many different schools. He went all the way as far as on, I think they call it signing day. He went as far as picking the hat and say that, this is the school that he's going to. Mind you, all the while he had everybody fooled. He had even his parents. He had everybody fooled, even the coaches at the school, which I don't understand that, because I know when the kid is being recruited, I believe those letters come through the school. That's what I believe, because I know when Alan was going through the process, he had tons of letters that went through the school. But here it is. This kid, he was lying, saying that he was being recruited by these schools until he had the big signing day, and he called the school name out, and the school actually called his high school and said, that's not true. But to know that this kid was just, I don't know, was he trying to prove anything to his parents, or he didn't want to seem like, I don't know what it is, but just to know that he would go to that extreme is really disheartening. But then police get involved. It gets really serious now. The police get involved. Here it is. You have this kid that said this. So now the coaches go to his house before the police come. The coaches goes to his house and they, interrogate him, asking him, why would he do that? And he kept going. He did not back down and say that, no, I made a mistake. I didn't tell the truth. He just kept at it. And until and he said that someone he paid some money to someone. He felt like he got scammed. And then when they asked him the person name, he couldn't even give the person name. So then he said, okay. And I guess a name came to him and he gave a name, and it was the quarterback of the school. It was the quarterback of the school, he said, that recruited him. So guess what happens now? Here it is now, police get involved because now they're thinking that this young man had been scammed. So now you have the police getting involved. Here it is, come to find out this kid had the quarterback had absolutely no clue as to what was going on. But see, let me tell you something. This is what it's about telling the truth. Because here it is, this young man could have caused the other young man to lose his scholarship or do jail time. You understand? Yes, Tony, yes, exactly. Even though he called out that young man's name, now this young man have to sit before the cops and explain his story when he had absolutely no clue, who this young man even was. He didn't even know the young man. That was the hard part. I mean, the sad part, he didn't even know the young man. But now you have the cop sitting in front of your face, and now you have to explain these things to the cop. And then here it is. Now this kid is left with this on his shoulders, because now everybody knew basically it was a scam. They never got to the bottom of why he did it. But if you go and you watch, you follow KO football on YouTube, you could watch the entire video, and I'm telling you, it's gonna literally blow your mind. And I wish I would have uploaded that one, but I didn't. But let me tell you something, to know that that young man went as far as he did, knowing that he could have got someone in trouble, one, knowing that he could have gotten in trouble, two, but still carried on the lie. Didn't say exactly, okay, I'm busted right now. Like, everything is coming down. Let me just go ahead and own up to what it is that I said, knowing that it was not true. Now I have the other young man, Future, involved at X State, because here it is. They don't know. They have to do an investigation by right because of the allegations that's being made. But again, to know that one will go this extent, we saw the coaches. We saw that, well, not the coaches. Let me rephrase that. We saw a coach who said what the extreme that he went to get a kid. So again, this is the extreme that a kid will go to, I guess, not to feel. Thank you. Oh, thank you. I just said in the earlier part of the conversation about a kid being under peer pressure. Didn't want to seem like the not so cool kid or the green kid or whatever they call it again. In this instant, he was afraid to let the people know around him that he hadn't been recruited. That's all what it boils down to. So that peer pressure, we definitely need to talk to our children, make sure we're letting them know whatever. Like I told Alan, I don't care if you don't play another down. I'm going to love you the same way. And this is when he was in college. We have to be there for our children, and not, coming from a parent who did it, over crowding your kids. Basically, and I regret, not letting Daryl go and do what he wanted to do, holding him back. I regret that till this day. But one thing about it, and two things for sure, I know that it had to happen. I don't know why it had to happen, but it had to happen. And still, he turned out to be an amazing young man. He maybe didn't play football, but he's a business owner. He has his own business and he's doing great things. A very, very smart kid. And I'm telling you, you put anything in front of him and he can ace it. And that's one of the things I thank God for, that I never lost my kids to the street. And they kept a cool head, knowing what they had to do. One, education was first. Football was secondary. We got to get that education together, guys. Because if there's something that no one can ever take from you, is your education. Get your education, then you could play ball. But again, to know that they were actually leaders and not followers, I thank God for it every day, because it could have took a turn for the worse. But thank God it didn't. Both have a great head on their shoulder. And little did I know that I was not displaying that to Daryl at the time, that I trust that he would make the right decision. I trust that I did raise him right by not letting him go off to college. But let me tell y'all something. The beauty of it is we all was in college together. So there's beauty for those ashes. Let me tell you. There's beauty for those ashes, but I want you guys again to encourage your kids. I don't care if it's not sports. Sports, yes, it's good. Yes, it could be great. But even if it's not sports, just try to stand behind our kids, even when, my God, and this is the hardest thing to do, is even when they're acting out. I'm not saying no chastise them. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, do not beat them up with whatever it is that they're doing, because sometimes a kid is definitely acting out of trying to get some help, but not knowing how to ask for the help. So you want to make sure that you're speaking with them, you're keeping an open line of communication with them. Some things they're going to come to you and say that you want to just bust them upside the head, but you can't show that, because once you show that, then they're going to kind of refrain from telling you things. And I remember being in this seminar, and a young lady was saying, it's so deep to wherein when we're being raised by our parents and we may act out of line, you may get that spanking, you may get that beating, you may get that switch. But if a person is inflicting pain onto you, and then they're telling you, you better not cry, shut up, you better not let that tear drop. You're hurting me. Not saying, listen to me, guys, not saying I didn't deserve that beating, but you're hurting me and you're telling me not to cry. So am I not supposed to show any emotions? Am I not supposed to show you that you're hurting me? So now you're instilling fear into your child, not even knowing. It's simple as that. Simple as that. You're instilling fear. So now, guess what? I know sometimes I may say something or do something that I know that whooping or that switch is going to come. So now I'm going to try to sneak and do things and try to hide things and not be as open with my parent as I can be. But we also have to, like I say, it is imperative for us to keep that open line of communication with our kids. Now, let me speak to these moms with these grown boys, young men. I ain't going to say boys. Tony, and you could chime in on this. The women, the mothers that has grown children. You definitely want to have healthy boundaries. Healthy boundaries. There's nothing wrong with setting boundaries in your family, which some boundaries should have been set way before they came adults. However, once they become an adult and they become that man and they want you to feel like, mom, I'm a man now. I had a show before I said, mama, we grown now, and I get that. But in my eyes, they'll forever be my babies. 40, 50 years old, I still call them my baby. However, I do know that they're young men, especially mighty men of valor at that. However, it's just a mother's thing. So mothers, can you tap in and tell me how it is that you are with your grown child or your child that, I'm grown. Even if they're 19 years old, they swear they grown. They swear they grown. But you still want to keep that line. I say, have those healthy boundaries, and make sure you keep that line of communication open. It's very, very imperative. And if you have kids that's going off to college, make sure that they have colleges offer so much that that sometimes a lot of the kids or the parents do not know. Take advantage of every single thing not the recruiting process. That's not what I'm saying, but take advantage of everything that college has to offer, whether it's financial literacy, whether it's speaking to the chapel, whether it's mental health, whatever it may be. Take advantage. If you're on a full scholarship, make sure that you're going for the full ride. Know what's available to you. Know the do's and definitely know the don'ts. That's very, very important. And I know sometimes when kids go off to college, they want to be, I'm grown, I can do this, but they have so much that's on their hands. And I had a conversation with someone and they explained to me that here it is that they wanted to make those decisions. But at the end of the day, as a parent, you thought that you were doing the right thing by handling that part of that for them. But knowing when these kids going to step into this collegiate role at college, it's a lot that they deal with. It's a lot that goes behind the scenes that so many do not know. Here it is, you're leaving home. This is your first time being away from your parents. I mean, now you're feeling yourself a little bit. You have all of this that's going on. You have football, you have workouts. Sometimes you have tour days. You have study hall. You have, it's just a constant flow of things that athletes have to do, right? So you have your kid in college. And maybe I should have talked about this on another show because this is very important. Your kid goes to college, and if they're on a full scholarship, and hear me good, if they're on a full scholarship, and I believe it's 2 years, 2 years that they have to stay on campus. Now, don't quote me on that. I say I believe. So it's 2 years that they have to be on campus. Maybe, I think 2 years. So when they get to be able to move off of campus, right, you want to make sure that, one, the lodging is taken care of and no balances are being left over. Now, hear me good now. They're on a full scholarship. That's what I said, right? But here it is. You want to make sure that there are no balances, because even though that they're on a full scholarship, what happens if your kid moved out and now they lost their key? I want you guys to know that is something that do not fall under your scholarship. Hear me good, people. That is something that do not fall under your scholarship. If you had to have a lock change, or let's see, you may have a parking ticket. I don't know too much about that because Alan didn't have, well, yes, I do, but a parking violation, yeah. I ain't gonna speak about that part, but definitely make sure they don't have a parking violation. Make sure that all of that, if they do, if they could get it taken care of by the school, maybe it could have been wrong or something, but you always want to make sure every semester that tally says 0. Now, I know this is wild college visits, and I don't know why I'm going here, but this is something that people need to know. Make sure that tally says 0, because at the end of the year, when your kid or your young man or your young lady is getting ready to transition out of college, getting ready to walk across that stage, and they have these fees hanging over their head, guess what's going to happen? They will not receive their degree. It would say graduated, but one of the things I ask my children for is that degree. And that is something that I wanted to put on my wall and to be able to look at, But you will not get that if there is any fee that's left over. Again, if they're in school, living off campus, they lose a key, may get a parking fine. There's a couple other things that, outside of what that scholarship covers. That's why the parents need to be inside of these meetings or have some type of rapport with these counselors, these advisors, to know what it is that's going on. Because if our kids have worked their butts off to receive their degree, they want to receive their degree, not knowing that they had this little tally. Even though that I thought that I was on top of things, that kind of slipped under the radar. So when Alan went to graduate, I was there for the graduation. I experienced it and everything, beautiful. So next week, a couple of weeks rolled by when the degree was supposed to come in, it never showed up. And I'm like, okay, well, what's going on with that? Here it is. It was a key. I think saying that it was something about a key, saying that a lock was changed. Now, mind you, if it's 4 people in the apartment, because that's what the villages, I think they were called. But if it's 4 people in that apartment, who carries that weight if the key was lost? That's what I don't understand. So parents that sending your kids off to school, please make sure that you keep in watch of everything. Or young men, young ladies, please make sure that you're watching your tally, because you don't want anything to happen like that. You make it all the way up, you walk across the stage, and you never receive your degree because of a balance that they say that you owe. Well, watch this. Now, here it is, after call, after call, after call, after call, staying on top of things, you finally find out what it is that holding your child degree. I don't care if it's $5, people. I don't care if it's $20. I don't care if it's $200. Alan's, I think, was $200. They said some parking tickets, and how do you get parking tickets if you don't have a car? This is why I'm saying to stay on top of your stuff or your business when you're entering college. Because if you're giving someone a ticket that don't have a car, 1, that don't make sense to me. 2, what if I just said, okay, whatever, or never really looked into it and thinking like, okay, well, maybe the degree got lost in the mail or something. But no, stand on it, finding out it was parking tickets and a key being changed, which I didn't understand, because if someone lost their key out of the 4, is it everybody that actually gets that fee, or is it that one person? Because I know in the villages, like I said, you had roommates. So who gets that fee? That's something I don't understand. But anywho, after fighting and fighting and fighting, finally received the degree. Thank you, Jesus. Finally received the degree. Very, very happy. But just imagine if I didn't stay on top of the folk to get that done. Sometimes fees could be mistakenly put on uh, your child's card. They call it cane cards at the University of Miami. Sometimes a fee could be put on there. Now you have a fee put on there. One, if you don't know who to go and talk to, who to keep in contact with, who can help you in situations like this, I don't know what to tell you. It's best that you definitely stay on top of it. You got to get in touch with the advisors, get in touch with the counselors, whoever it may be, to make sure that your child do not experience anything like this. Because again, if they're working their butts off to get their degree, making great grades, which Alan did, making a great grades, they want to receive their degree. And if something I say so small, can keep you from getting your actual degree, you just want to make sure that you stay on top of it. Definitely stay on top of it. And again, I can't say enough to make sure you keep that line of communication open, guys. Listen, I'm long-winded. I know I'm short-winded on today. I'm going to go ahead and eat me some dinner, and I'm going to enjoy the remainder of my day. But if you have any college students, know of any college students, please do encourage them to make sure they stay on top of things. Even if it's the student, even if it's the parent, stay on top of things. Guys, I thank you so much for tuning in here with your girl for Monday Night Madness. Tomorrow I will have the prayer broadcast, an hour of power. And you guys know, listen, every round goes higher and higher on an hour of power. And I will have the beautiful Kelly Davis with us on tomorrow. Once again, I'm not sure if Dr. B will be joining us, but our superstar Shannon, she knows exactly what we're talking about. What I'm talking about. Dinner for two, please. I got you, my Norma. Come on here, Ted Glenn, and get your dinner. How about that? I love you. But guys, listen, please do tune in with us on tomorrow. Promise you, you will not be disappointed. Trust me. But guys, go back and watch that wild video that Social Slim talked about. Ma Norma, if you were not on here, I showed a video with some things that goes on during these college visits that kind of literally blew my mind. However, Charlotte said she heard of some of it, but let me tell you, it really shocked me. Hi, BFF. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hi, Marva. Y'all, that's my BFF all the way from elementary. I tell you, God bless you. God bless you. But listen, so tune in with us here tomorrow at 5:30, guys. We'll love to have you. We're going to take flight. And man, oh man, we're going to have a good time in the Lord on tomorrow. God's willing, meet me back here. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do hit the subscribe button as well as the notification button to let you know every time we go live here at It Had to Happen. It's free. I'm trying to reach 5,000 by the end of the month. If I don't, so more it be. And if I do, woohoo. And thank you all, every last one of you, for taking time out of your busy schedules to join me here on It Had to Happen, to show your love, to show your support. Guys, love in this season. Spread the love. I love you all. I'm going to send you out some virtual hugs and some virtual love. Because, guys, we love you here at It Had to Happen. Until next time, bye-bye.
Erica's Empowering Empire. 88 Blessings Soar Movement. It had to happen in a beauty so rare. We'd love for you to join us by subscribing to our YouTube channel. It had to happen with Erica Wilson. Following our social media.